How we doing, guys? Finally got a nice day out riding. So I'm gonna take you someplace, and yeah, you know what it is. So to set this all up so you know what's going on, when I was a kid, I had a Honda MR50, and then my dad sold that and got me an RM80, and it was like in the 70s. I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. I can't totally remember the exact age I was when I got it, but I was young. And going from a 50 to the two-stroke 80 was, you know, it was a big change for me. And I never really rode the bike on the pipe hardly at all, because I was young and I was scared of the bike. And so I would just, you know, putt around with it and mess around, and once in a while I'd get on the pipe and stuff, but, you know. So at any rate, the neighbor kid up the road used to come by my house every morning with his dirt bike, and he had a YZ80. And he used to come out to the end of the road. There's a old school out here, and he'd park it there and he'd go to work. He was quite a bit older than me. I think he was probably 5 or 6 years older than me, maybe. He was just at that age he couldn't drive yet, but he had a bike, so he would ride it out to go to work, and somebody would pick him up out there. So he used to race everybody around here with that YZ80, and he beat pretty much everybody with it. So I always avoided racing him because, well, one, I was afraid of the bike, and two, I was afraid of losing. So I would always avoid him, and he would always say, "Hey, you want to race me? You want to race me? You want to race me?" But I always seen him when we weren't on our bikes, so it wasn't not a big deal. I was like, I don't know, maybe, whatever. So he just kept, you know, he was kind of like the neighborhood bully with a motorcycle that always wanted to race everybody, and I never really wanted to race him. All right, so here's right about here's where I was. Whoop. So I'll tell you the little story. So I was up here one day riding around, and there was a big snow pile right here, and I was out here riding, just messing around. There was all the grass. I gotta put my shield up, it's too hot. All the grass was still exposed, or was just coming in, but we had a real hard winter that year, so there was still big giant pile of snow right here. So I was coming up the road, and all this was dirt. I was coming up the road riding, and I was in the snow pile messing around, and next thing I know, I turn around and start facing the road, and yep, you guessed it, my nemesis on the YZ80 was sitting right on the edge of the road waiting for me. He saw me in the snow pile messing around, so I decided, well, I can't get out of it this time, so, you know, I guess I'm gonna have to race him. So of course I pulled up beside him right here and said, you know, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and he's like, "All right, well, you know, I've been wanting to race you for a long time, and now's it. I mean, we both got to go the same way because we both live that way." He said, "So, I guess it's time to race, huh?" I said, I guess so. I mean, like I said, I was scared of the bike still, so I didn't really run the bike hard. And two, he's already beaten like tons of people, so I wasn't even sure if I could beat him or not. I didn't even have no idea. So we line up, and wait, I had to make sure no car was coming. So we line them up, and away we go, and here's where we start. We both sit side by side, take off. Now remember, this is all dirt. So he jumps out, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 bike lengths on me, like right away. Like he takes right off, and I'm like, this is gonna be bad. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I don't race him, I'm going to be a wussy. If I do race him and lose, I'm going to be a loser. So I didn't know what to do. So I was riding along, me and him, you know, and I'm like this distance and he's like that sign away. That's how far ahead he is. And I'm like, man, this isn't good. So I'm running along in like, I don't know, 3rd or 4th gear, and we get down here a little bit, and I could still see him at this point. He's still, you know, up there. So right about this point, I thought, I tried to give it some gas, and I was in too high a gear, so I downshift, and I run it up, and I get on the pipe. So now I'm on the pipe, and I usually didn't run on the pipe, so it's a little scary, and I start taking off. Boom, 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 boom. And right about here, I close down to like 3 bike lengths on him. Like he's just in front of me right now. And I'm like, oh, I might be able to beat him. I'm only in 3rd gear. But I didn't want to pass anybody because you can see the road is pretty bad. I mean, as far as blindness, you just can't see nothing. So I stayed in 3rd gear, and I was coming around these turns in 3rd gear, and I just get right on the pipe. Well, I know this road really well, so I know where I can go and where I can't go to pass him. So I just stay in 3rd gear, and we come up around this turn, and I know at the end of this turn it's going to be straight soon as I can see. So we're going along. Soon as I crested the hill where I could see right here, I just lit her up. Bam, bam, bam. And I flew around him like he was sitting still. And I just was like, you know what, I can't lose. I just held on, and I was just running through the gears. Had her up in 5th gear. I think that might even been a 6-speed. I can't remember. It was in the 70s, maybe 78, 79. And I was going along, and right at this point, I couldn't even hear his bike at all when I hit this point right here. And we're only racing to the stop sign. So when I get up to the stop sign, of course, just like I am now, I'm starting to downshift, and I do, you know, one of these, boom, look back, and I see him. And he's like, when I turned around, he was like, just at, you know, at that 2nd mailbox up. So I had like a lot on him. So he comes up and gets up beside me. He's like, man, you beat me, but you didn't beat me by much. And I'm like thinking to myself, I didn't beat you by much. Are you kidding me? I was so far ahead of you. He goes, that thing's pretty fast. I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, I didn't even know it was that fast. But that's my story about the beating the YZ80 with the RM80. And I had that bike for quite some time, and it was a neat little bike. It had a real funky gas tank on them back then. The gas tank came, you know, up, and then instead of the filler being in the center of the gas tank, it was off to the side, and the hose came up and all that. And that was a funky little bike, but boy, did that thing rip. And it was a good time. We just ripped all over the place with that thing. And then I got into a friend come up with a 3-wheeler, so I got into the 3-wheelers. So, but yeah, that's my YZ story. I got tons of stories to tell. So if you guys enjoy the stories, comment, like, subscribe. I got a bunch of stories coming up. Obviously, it's time to ride now, so we're gonna have all kinds of riding going on with the KX and the 300 and the WR. You'll see that one, videos for that coming up. So thanks again, guys. Enjoy your afternoon, and I'll see you later.